What's up, guys? It's the Ol Drunken Geek. Oh, excuse me. Hello? What? Putin's penis is stuck in Trump's mouth. I'll be right there. Excuse me. What's up, guys? This is the Ol Drunken Geek, and this is my Wonder Woman review. Fuck, this shit was good. It was really super duper good. Everything any DC fan would ever want in a Wonder Woman movie. Patty Jenkins, fucking hats off, dude. Hats off. Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman, perfect Wonder Woman, charismatic as fuck, as was Chris Pine. So we pick up with Wonder Woman in modern day, and this is after Batman v Superman, and Batman sends her, or Bruce Wayne rather, the picture that she was looking at in the hard drive, you know, that she stole from Lex from that movie, whatever. Gets the picture and starts narrating the story, and then we pick up with her as a flashback when she's a little kid in Themyscira growing up. Not only that, as a little kid, she gets narrated from her mom, Hippolyta, her mother Hippolyta, you know, how they came to be and how the gods made men and they made them to protect men, and how Ares, the son of Zeus, eventually betrayed all the gods, killed everybody, and he was, you know, thrown away. It was done really cool as like a little story, you know, that you would tell a little kid, and she's showing her like the storybook, and it's just sort of a mystical world. Like all the pictures are moving. It was really, really cool, really well done. Themyscira, I felt like was done really, really cool. Just straight out of a comic book page. It really looked like ancient Greece, and like, you know, the terrain or whatever looked like Santorini or something like that. It was really, really cool, really well done, and you get a glimpse at the internal workings of Amazon society. They show you Hippolyta, her mother, and they show you her sister, which is Wonder Woman's aunt, Antiope. I'm not sure how to pronounce her name. They're like two sides of the same equation type of. One of them, the aunt, is really warlike. She knows a lot about war, and, you know, she's the warrior, and she's always thinking on that side. And the mother is more about diplomacy and, you know, just keeping the peace. And I feel like together they inform who Wonder Woman ends up becoming. One point that I really liked was when Diana was starting to get trained by Antiope, her aunt, and Hippolyta catches them. She gets mad, and she's like, no, I'm trying to protect Diana. And Antiope tells her, you know, this is the way to protect her, to teach her how to fight. And I felt that for women and just anybody in general was really cool, a cool idea. The best way to protect somebody is to empower them themselves. A lot of what Diana's character, what her character growth is in this movie, is her empowering herself, learning to be confident in her own skills and her own powers, which she begins to unfold during the movie. Spoilers! As far as Wonder Woman in this movie, she's a lot different than she is in Batman v Superman, whereas in that she looked like she was experienced and she was very like confident and owned the room. Wherever she was, she kind of owned the room. In the beginning of Wonder Woman, you see Diana is really, really I don't want to say insecure, but definitely not up to that level of confidence that you saw in Batman v Superman. Steve Trevor crash lands on their, you know, Themyscira's beach or whatever, and Wonder Woman saves him. That first battle they have with the Germans when they come to get Steve, she's kind of garbage, man. She kind of does very little. She fights a little bit or whatever, but leaves herself completely unprotected, and her aunt dies because of it, dies protecting her. She catches a bullet for her, and that's the other thing, man. In the beginning of this battle, one of the Amazons, you see a bullet shoot at her, and it catches her right in the ribs, and she dies. So you can tell the stakes are high for Wonder Woman, because at this point you think, you know, she's an Amazon, you know she's an Amazon, so, but you see that she can die. All the characters in the movie, all throughout, were very organic, very well done. Hippolyta, you know, they were all very human, and Hippolyta, to me, showed like some flaws, which is normal. Any person has flaws. Some flaws, because she didn't want to let go of Diana. Diana had to go out and embrace this new world and fight for justice, freedom, and well, not the American way, but, you know, the good way. Hippolyta was almost selfish in a way. She didn't want to let her daughter go. That's so human. That's such a human moment. She didn't want to let her daughter go for no other reason that that's her daughter, and she's a mother. So I felt that was really cool. and it informed a lot about the world around them, like how the characters were treated in this story. You know, they were all treated like people. Excuse me, guys. Power juice. Moving on to Steve Trevor. Man, did Chris Pine do a job? He was so fucking funny, but all the humor in this movie was not like pushed. It was not forced. Not to talk bad about the Marvel movies, but sometimes it might feel like that. Like, you know, like Doctor Strange, where, you know, he's, you know, the cape is like grabbing people. It's like fucking Three Stooges. Not really great comedy, and I felt like it took away from that movie. But this movie, all the comedy was organic. You know, Steve Trevor lands. He doesn't know anything about this world, and he's talking about World War One, and, you know, the war to end all the world. Is like, you bitches ain't up on it. Like, everybody's like, no. He's like, millions dead. For example, the scene on the sailboat, when Steve Trevor is leaving the island with Diana. They have left the island, and they're sailing to man's world, and they're having a conversation. You know, she's like, come sleep with me. He's like, oh, men don't sleep with women. He's like, you don't sleep with women? He's like, yeah, I do, but, you know, we have to be married and all this stuff. And it's funny. It's a funny banter. And she's like, well, I understand about, you know, anatomy, and I understand about the pleasures of the flesh, but, you know, men are not needed. You know, all the comedy from that scene works really well, I felt. And, you know, and it just helps to inform how different their worlds really are. Another thing I felt this movie did really well was changing gears in between, like, moods and tones in the movie. Like, you went from very grandiose Themyscira and very hopeful, you know, ideas and things that were put into the movie, and then, you know, you just switch gears and boom boom boom, you've got comedy, boom boom, you've got action. You go into, you know, you see these atrocities, you see everything, you see serious moments, funny moments. They just switch the gears really, really quickly and really effortlessly and seamlessly. As Wonder Woman starts coming to, you know, man's world, she eventually wants to go to the war, and she wants to protect man's world. That's her whole thing. She's kind of like Luke Skywalker, in the sense that she's kind of like ready for adventure, and she generally wants to do the good thing. But once she's really confronted with how bad things can be in the world, that's her driving force. She really wants to do a good thing. It's almost like it's no longer really that much about adventure for her. She wants to stop Ares because she believes that Ares is responsible for controlling men into this war. She feels like Ares was the one who orchestrated everything so that World War One could happen, and she wants to go into the front lines and face Ares. When you start moving to that part of the movie, you start getting a little bit more of the serious tones, because she starts seeing the atrocities of war. She goes to the front line, she sees people with severed limbs, she sees little kids looking for their parents, animals getting beaten so they would move faster, and you as the audience really feel it. And, you know, like 2 minutes ago you had funny stuff, and all of a sudden you yourself as the audience are also thrust into this situation. It's like, damn, fuck, they're pulling on these horses, they're beating these horses. Look, there's a little kid, you know, he's looking for his mom. This dude's got no arm. He's walking around. So I felt like they did a really, really good job at that. The villains, you know, kind of flim-flam. Like, you got Danny Houston's character. I forget his name. He was like the German general, and he was really the badass, and he was, you know, kind of just moving the plot along. And then you had that Dr. Poison character, who's this lady. She made all this poison gas. I felt like their characters were a little bit of the mustache-twirling villains. The Dr. Poison character at one point says, "It is gonna be terrible." And I was like, that's a little on the nose. And, you know, at one point they kill a bunch of German generals that were opposing them. And they lock them up, and they're all laughing like, ha 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 ha. I was like, come on, bro, the sinister laugh. And then later on it revealed who Ares is, and he is the actual villain. And, you know, they have a really cool boss fight, which is, you know, spectacle. It is a superhero movie, so I ain't mad at it. As far as the Ares character, he did a lot of shit from the comics. Like, you know, they made him appear really ominous in the back, and he would disappear and appear and disappear and appear. It was really cool, because every time you've seen Ares begin to appear in one of her comics, you know, as the villain, they reveal that he's the villain. He's always in the back. He's always in the cut of some shit, and you can never see his face. He's like, yeah, and he just appears. So I felt like that was a lot, you know, like a throwback to the comics. So I felt that was cool. The Ares character, when he appears, you're also like, okay, he kind of appeared out of nowhere. You get it. It's really not super well done, but I'm not mad at it. The movie is awesome. And the true villain of the movie is the darkness in men's hearts. That is really what the bottom line is. And she silver linings that at the end when she gives her little closing statements or whatever, all again in modern time, just looking back at what happened all the way through World War One, and yeah, man, all together, I would say this movie gets a 5 shots out of 5. Like this is for a superhero movie as good as it gets. So I ain't mad at it. I can't wait till the next one. I hope Patty Jenkins does the next one because this fucking movie was amazing. So cheers, and I recommend this movie, man. You guys go out and watch it again. I'm gonna go watch it a fucking third time, probably a fourth in theater. So I would recommend it to anybody who likes movies. Peace. Alright, I'm out of breath from all that damn spinning.